Hello, friends. Nicole Carter here, Mindfulness Coordinator and Health Coach for BMC Wellness. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'd love to introduce our special guest, Don Scherling, Senior Consultant in the Department of Psychiatric and Behavioral Sciences, whose clinical work is primarily focused in the Berkshire Health Works Employee Assistant Program. Don, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Nicole. It's great to be here. I really enjoy the work that I do and the way it integrates with my own self-care and the care of other colleagues in the health system. So it's been a wonderful opportunity that I've had in working with wellness and in working in the EAP program, Employee Assistance Program, to help people in both of those fronts.
Yeah, I can hear that passion and desire in your voice, and thank you so much for that assistance in the community. And we're so excited to get this program, the Mindfulness Tools for Mindful Living, off of the ground to really incorporate personal stories and also get backgrounds of how our pioneers of Berkshire Health Systems are weaving this into their work. So I would really love for you to share your journey with your breath practice.
I've always been interested in wellness and personal health, and maintained a vigorous exercise program, and tried to maintain healthy diet with not always good success. After 2013, though, when Berkshire Health Systems started our wellness life enhancement program, I was part of that group, and so really made significant changes at that time. Then in about 2015, I started learning yoga and practicing yoga, mostly just here at Berkshire Health Systems with Angela Wilson and Alex Sabo, Dr. Sabo, who you guys saw last week. And learning yoga transformed my clinical practice and my personal life in that I began to do more conscious breathing. I began to search for ways to help others calm and integrate their thinking and emotions into their being more aware of what their bodies were doing. Oftentimes when people are talking in psychotherapy or in counseling, they can talk about the stories of their stress, but they have a hard time enduring the energy that comes into their bodies when that happens. And if their bodies are really activated into stress and anxiety, then the thinking brain begins to shut down. And in fact, people lose the ability to focus and think. And previous to my learning about this in yoga, I didn't have it all wrong, but I always thought that meditation was really guided to escape our stress by going to a calm, imaginary place where we could be calm and be nurtured. And that's not exactly wrong, but it's sort of backwards from the way we do it in yoga practice. Yoga practice is being aware of the present and being fully mindfully present to our current experience, including in our bodies, and learning to observe what's happening in our bodies and accept it without judgment, and just notice it as a curious thing that we can be aware of, and then begin to use that experience and information to guide our self-care. And that's where conscious breathing came in, because meditation without breath work or without being aware of breathing is sort of just a circular mind exercise and doesn't do much for the body. So by breathing integration, though, into that work, then the body and the mind begin to be balanced and synchronized and integrated. And that made a huge difference for me. For example, if I wake up at 3 a.m. and my default brain mode kicks in, that means what my brain does when it's left to its own devices. Default brain mode, we all have it. That's what brains do. And when a default brain mode, which is really can be very pleasant, actually, you can be fantasizing about a loved one. You can be thinking about your vacation. You can be remembering wonderful things. And it can be neutral. Your default brain can be just daydreaming, kind of wandering around in circles, thinking of many different things. and it rapidly changes course all the time. But the default brain mode can be very aversive. And if you have a lot of anxiety or stress, or if you have depression or sadness or grief, the default brain mode can become very, very painful and actually aversive, something we might avoid. And so that can be exactly the darkness that comes into people in the middle of the night or any time that they're thinking outside of their current experience. And that's what brains do. So in yoga, we learn to accept that. And by breathing, we have tools that are as effective at calming the body as sedatives like alcohol and benzodiazepines. And it's even more healthy than those, of course. And it's as effective as cannabis in calming down the thoughts and calming the brain slowly. But it's much healthier because then we're integrating good breath into our bodies and letting go of what's no longer needed, like carbon dioxide and stress and all the other things. So
yeah, and you mentioned so many great points, and I heard the word awareness as key so many times, and how you're weaving that. And we work with our bodies and use our instruments, especially when it comes to the breath, because our breath is our partner, is our life force. So thank you for sharing that for us.
yeah.
And a question to the newcomer when it comes to a mindfulness and a meditation practice. What would you say the beginning point is? Where would you say, would that be yoga? Would that be, more of a seated meditation? I'm curious where you would start with someone.
I encourage people to always, as we learn in yoga, we're always beginners all the time. And I really like that concept. It's very important because then we don't have to be experts. And once we get to be experts, we get in trouble because then we think we know something that we may not know, and we lose our curiosity. But as beginners, we're always looking with curiosity. So I think that I teach people to try different means. And so some people say, no, square breath works better for me. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. I don't like that one because of the breath hold with an empty lung makes me more anxious, but that's just a personal preference. So I like the 4-7-8 as a breath tool, as a beginning point. And the main thing for the beginner, though, is not to try to do too much other than just breathe and notice. Breathe and notice. Just consciously breathe. And as we breathe consciously, most often, unless we're really triggered, we will breathe deeper and slower. And then one thing that we teach in 4-7-8 is to breathe out longer than we breathe in fact, twice as long. And the exhalation is parasympathetic. It means that it's a calming part of our central nervous system. It actually helps the body calm by breathing, exhaling longer and slower. And with an empty lung, then if you really empty the lung, then you get much better air back in. Because biologically, when we're anxious, we typically hold breath in. And this is a biological thing meant to save our lives. And when we get in full activation, what we call fight, flight, or fight, flight, freeze, that's really a breath hold. That's taking air in and holding it is in preparation for action. And so by breathing out fully, we get full air in, and that counters that anxiety activation in our bodies that comes with what's meant to save our lives, the stress response in our bodies.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that background, getting a little detailed with that breath. And that is the breath that you are going to lead us through today, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So whenever you're ready, let's begin.
Okay. So 4-7-8, I learned from Dr. Andrew Weil. I want to credit him. And he actually says it's better than benzodiazepines and alcohol and marijuana or weed to calm our bodies down. So sorry about the phone call. So he actually says that we should, that's distracting to me. I'm so sorry. So that'll be the last ring. So 4-7-8 is 4 in through the nose, we hold our breath for 7. You can just do that however you want, and then breathe out for 8. You can do it with your tongue up behind your teeth, but breathing in through the nose, and then hold, and then breathing out through the mouth like you're blowing out candles, like that. So I'll do fingers just to help. We're going to do just 4 breaths. So take a deep breath and blow it all out. Then inhale through the nose. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. So that's it. And just a couple of guidance, additional comments. So don't worry too much about doing it right. Just try to let the body get in the rhythm of that. And breathing in through the nose helps us kind of a thing. And it's a slow, steady breath in and slow, steady breath out rather than a and then you have no air left for the last 3 counts. So it takes a little bit to learn that. Once your body learns that, by the second in the cycle, the second breath in the cycle, your body's already saying, oh, this is the calming tool, and begins to settle into that. Also, if you know little kids, if you have a small child and they say, mommy, down, and you don't put them down, they'll do this parasympathetic dead drop on you, and you become heavy all of a sudden. Our pets know how to do that stuff too. And so when you're breathing out, let your body settle into the exhale, and that will be a really helpful thing. So I use it more first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and many times during the day because I teach to all my clients, and I do it multiple times at other times as just a little 1-minute focusing tool.
That was my question was, what would you suggest the time period would be? Around that 1 to 5 minutes?
Yeah, just you just want to do it for 4 breaths while you're learning it, just 4 breaths.
Okay, gotcha.
So the just 4 in, hold 7, 8 out for 4 breaths only. You don't want to do it indefinitely because you want your body to recognize this is a punctuated tool. It's not something you're just doing continuously. After you've done the 4, 7, 8, then you can do deep, slow, steady breaths, kind of equal, a little less inhale than exhale, but you want to exhale fully and let the tummy push up against the spine, getting that last breath out, and then you get better breath in again. So.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that tool. And is there anything, any other breathing techniques that you'd like to share? I know you mentioned a couple before we wrap up.
Yeah, there's going to be a resource that's available to people that they can be sent to them by email. But the other one that I just wanted to mention is a naming and counting and breathing tool for sleep. And so it involves breathing deeply and slowly. You don't count the breath in this one, but then breathing deeply and slowly at the end of each long exhale, you name one thing you can see up to 5. So I can see the lamp. Breath, I can see the painting. Breath, I can see the chair. And so you name one thing up to 5, then 5 things you can hear. I can hear the ventilation system. I can hear the traffic outside. I can hear the neighbor's dog barking. Breath in between each one. And then 5 things you can feel. I can feel the cool air in my nostrils. I can feel the tension coming out of my body. So you name 5 see, 5 hear, 5 feel. breath in between each one, then 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. And this is a way to calm both the brain from the nervous, worrisome ruminations, and also the body. So the breath calms the body. The naming and counting gives the brain some busy work to calm down the ruminations. So that one's for
Wonderful.
sleep.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
it sounds like, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And then ocean breath and three-part breath. Three-part breath is just dividing the lung into diaphragmatic, rib cage, and upper lung. And we learn that one in yoga. And so when we're breathing, we want to try to breathe from the bottom of the lung. Singers and athletes learn how to do this. And so it's useful to learn that, filling the lung from the bottom rather than trying to breathe in. So picture your lung filling like a liquid from the bottom. And then ocean breath is a constriction of the throat to make your diaphragm work a little harder, sound like Darth Vader with your mouth open. But it gives a visual of the ocean surf in a nice rhythm. And if you do it with your mouth shut, it's different, so you don't disturb your yoga buddies. So that's another one to learn, but they're all on the sheet anyway, so I welcome that. And then one last thing, Nicole, I'm sorry to keep phonetically going here, but if people can't sit and meditate or lie and meditate, because sitting is the most common form of what's practiced in meditation, but feel free to walk and meditate. So you can move the whole body if you're really cranked with energy, and then you can do a walking meditation that does a nice rhythmic breathing and can be very calming as well.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for really breaking it down and allowing us to understand the differences of the types of breath and how that's very unique to the individual, and also the sensory piece, then with the walking piece, knowing that you can get into those mindful movement meditations as well. So just such great stuff. Don, thank you so much. And yes, please, everyone, contact me. I will give you the information from Don at ncarter2@bhs1.org. Thanks again, Don. We appreciate you very, very much and look forward to hearing more of your journey and more of your commitment to our community for this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, and thanks for all your efforts in helping people live well.
You're welcome. Thanks, friends. We'll see you again.